Mic check, Ali. The mic don't sound right. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Thabiso. I'm starting off in a brand new podcast. It's a podcast brought to you by the Bucket Gator. Yeah, I'm the Bucket Gator. A quick synopsis: this is just gonna be a podcast where we just talk about NBA basketball and people that are coming up and who are pretty much in the radar of everybody around the league. I'm a huge Laker fan myself. So if it gets a little too homerism for my Lakers, I'm sorry. That's just my team. That's just who I rock with and everything. And that's actually how we're going to start this podcast off. We're going to start the podcast off with how bad the Lakers have been. Well, at least in my opinion, considering that there were a lot of people that were dumbfounded that experts had Bron missing the playoffs. And now we are pretty much in the last quarter, not even like the last quarter of the season, and we're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. We're a 10 seed, and we somehow managed to lose to the Pelicans with nobody on their team after we just beat the Rockets. And it's been kind of an up and down season for us in general. I feel as if though we're really not playing to our potential. I just think that the Los Angeles Lakers in general have a lot of mishaps, and it's a lot of reasons and pointer fingers to who's responsible for what. But I feel like this all starts from what we did in July. I think, if anything, management deserves the most blame for how our team has been, in the sense that we brought in players that we know wasn't going to fit in with the style of play that not only the young core had, not only the young core needed in terms of last season, because we were a bad shooting team last season too, but we didn't really address any of the situations that we had last year, and we let everything walk from last year in an event to bring another superstar in. I don't really know how I feel about that. It's just in the sense that you hope that if your management is keeping up with what the trends are in the league and what everybody needs to do. Lonzo's a guy who's really good at making the first pass and making moves that get other people open. He's a really dynamic playmaker, and that's his whole thing on offense. Bron needs to facilitate, and he needs to get to the rack and really just work people out one-on-one, because he's really just that good. Like, Bron is that nice. And when you have a guy like Ingram too, who can destroy the rack, he's a 6'9", 6'10" guy who at times can show flashes and make plays like he a point guard. And that's what I'll be trying to tell people, even though they really don't believe in Ingram. I know Ingram has a bad stigma in media, but he's a 25-3 guy. It's not a lot of wing players that can just give you that out of nowhere. It doesn't matter in the terms of volume, shooting, whatever flaws that you want to bash Ingram for so much. It's not a lot of guys that can give you 25-3 at the age of 21 as a 6'9" wing. And like Tatum right now is at 17, same as Ingram, pretty much 17, 16. And that's just somebody who's really touted to have such high potential and who's going to run the league for the next 10 years. So when I look at Ingram, who's like a year older, and it's like, why can't he be good in the league? Because everyone likes to call him mid or trash. But I feel like the production that there's things that Ingram does on the basketball court that can be good and get even greater. I just feel like putting the cap on him at 21 is tough. He's not an undersized guard. He's a fragile wing. And really, he's long as hell, to where, like, when you figure out the jumper and everything, the game is going to get so much more easier for him. At least if you ask me, I think the game is going to get a lot easier for Ingram when he starts figuring things out and starts making better reads. And when we talk about Kuzma, I think everybody puts the cap on Kuzma too, just because the only really thing that you see from him that's even remotely good, it's not even shooting, it's just scoring in volume. And he had a stretch in a season where it was before all the injuries hit, where he was really active defensively and he was making the extra pass and everything. But it's just getting a little tougher with a lot of the guys not being around, and you need to find rhythm again. But even Kuzma too, I think Kuzma gets that cap. He's a 23-year-old wing getting 20 a night. And essentially, I just feel like everybody puts these caps on the young players because of what's been happening in the season. But not everything's on the young guys, and I'll get to that, more on that in a second. But back to management, we brought in everybody like Lance, Rondo, McGee. We made a desperate move to sign Tyson Chandler after we realized we didn't have a backup center like that, and small ball Kuzma at the 5 is never a good idea. And then so we have, instead of that, we bring in a 6'7", 6'8" Williams. Like, I don't know, like that's just not gonna cut it. And when we coming from a season prior where we had Julius Randle and Brook Lopez, two guys who are very productive this season, and I think in general we've just been making bad decisions and giving up too early because this whole thing is a process, and Magic and management just want to buy into it, like just buy everything. But if that case is to buy it, we should have bought it in the sense that, okay, why would I want Lance with AD and Braun? Why would I want Rondo with AD and Braun? Why do I want a bunch of guards who are incompetent, undisciplined on both ends? Either end from anybody really. Rondo's really undisciplined defensively. Zones out all the time and always overhelps. Lance, he just don't even care about defense at this point in his career. Oh, we brought in Mike Beasley, who we end up just shipping for nothing. We ended up just shipping him. The best big that gave us like the best stretch of production overall was Zubac, and he ended up getting traded for Mike Muscala, who's not hooping right now. So I just feel like in general that a lot of the decisions that the management has made for our roster has been piss poor. And you can get away with, I guess you can get away with being piss poor in management and how to develop a team and build the team up with common basic basketball principles. But then in a sense, why sign Braun? Because you're just wasting Braun's prime years. And why even have the young core linger around at this point when all you did was just bring them back into like not being like put them in a shell of themselves. And I know we had a bad losing stretch, but in the stretch of losing all those games was so much that had to have gone wrong, that went wrong, and that we could have honestly fixed up from this point onwards. But now it's just now everything's awkward in the locker room and everything. And I think though that will fix itself, and even we could possibly make the playoffs. It's just some things that has to change, and we have to change how we look at things from a management perspective first. That is the bottom line, because that is the most important thing in basketball, is to have good management. You have good management, you can have a dynasty. We just need to make better decisions and have a better idea of really picking and choosing talent that would just come and go. We can't just buy it. It's not just 2K. We can't just ship everybody and then see AD's a free agent and then sign him and then just signing a bunch of everything else and just forget about the team build up and how we want to play the team. You can't just simulate this kind of stuff. These kind of stuff and play styles matching together actually matter on the court. Gives us that synergy, and it gives out good basketball from everybody else. So I addressed the management side of things, but I also really feel like we have to look into making a coaching change. I don't think it's all on Luke, because we put a bad team around him. And by bad team is really just no one can be able to shoot any kind of shot. We're a bad 3-point shooting team, god awful. We're bad at shooting anything, really, to be honest. We're really good at attacking the basket and transition buckets, but it's only so many transition buckets and opportunities we can get. And especially when we're going to play bad defense, like how we've been playing like these past couple of games. If our thing is we're going to play bad defense, then it's going to be harder for offense to generate in transition buckets and getting into the basket, attacking mismatches and just like classic fast break 4v3, 3v2, 2v1. But Luke's offense is terrible in general. Our half-court offense is dog shit. Our half-court offense is, I don't want to say elementary, it's disrespectful, but it's really high school level offense. It's despicable. So basically, pretty much what our offenses look like, it's a 4-on-1 win with people that can't shoot, and we wait for somebody to make something happen out of a pick and roll or out of an isolation situation in most circumstances. And it's bad because it gets stuck to a point where, damn, we got to throw the ball to JaVale McGee down low and watch him throw a right hook shot from like 13 feet. Like none of it that we're doing on offense makes sense unless if it's in transition. That's what I really like. I like a couple of the plays that we developed for. I like the Ingram pin downs, and I like when we get KCP good looks, and I like when we just get our shooters involved. Even though Josh Hart be breaking all those looks, a lot of it is good looks. A lot of the looks Kuzma gets is good looks that he just be missing most of the games. But it's really just a realm of our offense is really not that diverse, and it's really stagnant most of the time. And I just think as a coach, you can't have an offense that sad. Like, it's horribly ran. It's horribly developed. And honestly, it doesn't even seem like at this point he really has a hold of the locker room because other shit's happening in spite of it. So my take on the Lakers is management, coach, and then hold your players accountable, because at the end of the day, you get on the court to hoop. That's what you get paid to do. That's how I look at it. But yeah, pretty much that's how I felt about my Lakers. Recapping the Warriors and Rockets game, though, it was a couple of interesting things that happened. James Harden didn't play. James Harden had that little neck injury. Everyone was commenting how he was ducking it, and to be honest, I thought this game was a dub for the Warriors. It just makes perfect sense. Like, that team relies on everything Harden based. But the Rockets pulled it off. The Rockets got the W, and now they're, I believe that's 8-4 now again in the Rockets over the last 2 years, something like that. So the Rockets have been really having Golden State's number, it seems like, when they can get everything put together. So it obviously holds the question, can the Rockets beat the Warriors for real? And I actually believe they do. I actually believe that despite how good OKC has been and despite how spectacular Denver has been, even despite their injuries, I just really feel like the Rockets got the most star power because you have Harden and Chris Paul. And we can talk about how, like, Chris Paul has been, but he's still giving you the same production, essentially, just a little bit less, and he's still hooping. Like, Chris Paul is still a hooper, and he'll still get you to where you need to be. He's not gonna take over games like all the time. He's a 6-foot guard, but he'll get everybody to where they need to be, and that's where the 17 assists comes from, along with the 27 points. In my opinion, I don't think that they can beat the Warriors, but it was really interesting to see how they made Boogie pretty much unplayable, because if he's not fouling, he's letting the blow by, because they do the whole hand hunting for mismatches and everything, and they made Boogie Cousins look bad defensively. Boogie didn't have a good game in particular that game, I believe, or I don't know. I caught stints of it. I didn't really think he had a good game from what I saw, but yeah, they really made Boogie work defensively. And it's a joke, to really think that, like, the Warriors are even beatable. But, like, how long can you go with the lineup with Iggy instead of Boogie without Boogie causing some kind of havoc in the locker room, or just becoming, like, typical Boogie Cousins that we've known with the attitude situations and whatnot? How does that play? Because when you're playing one of the top 3, 4, 5 teams in the league, it gets a little bit tougher to play a guy like Boogie. You might be able to play Boogie against Jokic, but you can't play Boogie against Harden. You can't play Boogie on, like, a guy like Ben Simmons. You can't put him on, like, a guy like Jimmy. It's not a lot of elite guards that Boogie can guard at all, if that, or, like, even regular guards. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that series happens, how it pan out and everything. I still think the Warriors would have their number and they'll have them beat. One thing, you got Steph and KD, which is pretty much the star power you need to beat like pretty much anybody, in my opinion. Like the only way you can get better than Steph and KD, honestly, is if you put like Braun and I don't even know. Actually, I really don't know. Like, because you didn't get that much better by putting Braun and Steph. So really, you pretty much got the best case scenario for your star power because you got the second and third best player in the league, in my opinion. So yeah, I just feel like in terms of like any series with Rockets and Warriors, it's gonna be tough. But I think the Warriors will have their number overall. But that was a real good game, and the Rockets have done a real good job of having a number. And I'm not sure if they're clearly the second team this season, just because it's been teams that have made a lot of better moves in the trade deadline. But yeah, this team can beat the Warriors. It's not impossible. It's just, in my opinion, I'd probably side it more safe and go with the team that has like 5 All-Stars. And then everyone was making a big deal about the Celtics in Chicago game. First off, I want to shout out to everybody in Chicago. Shouts out to Levine and Markkinen. I think they hooped today that game. But the whole thing is, what about the Celtics young core and everything, and what can the Celtics do to make sure they finish strong and get to the finals? I think one is just the trust thing. I think everybody just needs to realize that we're all good as fuck. So anybody can get off at any moment. But I think what we need to do more of a better job of doing is trusting each other more, letting loose and letting us develop offense for others. So I think Kyrie's done a better job of getting other people involved. But it can't be just Kyrie doing it. You feel me? So if Tatum has a good look, but if Jaylen Brown has a better look, get the better look off, especially down the stretch when the games get closer. There's no reason for you to play hero ball. And I feel like that's what they're kind of getting the vibe off of when it comes to the young core. The young core takes shots and ill-advised decision-making. They just do everything too much, and it results in bad possessions for Boston, who kind of been struggling offensively to begin with. So, what I feel like the Celtics need to really focus on is just going back to that team basketball that sparked them so much into getting to Game 7 against LeBron, who was pretty much like unstoppable, like doing everything by himself and everything. Overall, the Eastern Conference is looking stronger. The Raptors acquired Marc Gasol, which is crazy. And the Sixers, just when you think they're probably done with the Jimmy Butler acquisition and you feel like they kind of capped, they bring in Tobias Harris, which is real crazy because that starting 5 is deadly. And in my opinion, that starting 5 is the second best starting 5 in the league. And that's a team I really think that, can make that push to the finals as well. About the Sixers, I just really wanted to talk about them real fast because I'm really intrigued with how that team is, and I'm going to start watching them a lot more. So my analysis will be a little bit better. But overall, the Sixers are a team that's like really strong in its core. So it's really hard to break up a team. It's really hard to ridicule a team for lack of depth and lack of whatever they need, like shooting here and there and all that, when they got like 3 guys that can create at the perimeter who are all 6'8" and up. That's crazy. Tobias can create for himself. Jimmy Butler can create for himself in the perimeter. And Ben Simmons is a fucking monster. You can't really stop him unless you want to stop himself. So I don't know. That team is just really scary and it's real tall. No one's shorter than 6'7", 6'8". Is Jimmy the shortest one in the lineup? Probably might be, bro. Jimmy might be there. Oh, no, JJ Redick. I'm tripping. Okay, so JJ Redick's the shortest one in the lineup. But even then, with JJ shooting and just everything, they got a core and they got a solid 7 or 8 guys that they can play. So that just makes everything like deadly. They could stagger people however they want to. Jimmy's really good with staggering with units and creating for himself and others with other units that are not including the Sixers like superstar 5. Ben Simmons can do it also. Ben Simmons can play a little bit without the ball, just because, like, if you are running the second unit guys, Ben Simmons can probably kill down low. It's just a lot of upside with that team in general that feels real good, and I really like the 60 chance in the Eastern Conference. A couple more things before I go. I wanted to talk about Zion and the injury. Now that first out, shouts out to Zion. He's been hooping this whole season. He's been running the whole college league, and that's on God. He's been the best player by far, not even close. Unanimous number one pick. You would be stupid to trade your pick for somebody else if you're number one. Yeah, Zion is that guy. But I don't really feel like I really need to be talking about why he's that guy. You can see that in college, but I feel like his upside in the league is just that. Look how a guy like Blake, where he doesn't really fit in any realm, but he's really big and skilled. But Zion moves faster, and he's way more nimbler on his feet. And I think that's the most underrated thing about Zion, is because the people look at his signs and they're like, yeah, but what position can he play? He's also really quick, so he might not be like crazy with the crossovers, but he can hit you with the 1-2 and go right at the rim. And he's been doing that. And people really haven't been paying attention to that. So when they talk about, like, yeah, how are going to dominate? He's doing a lot of things off dunks. Well, hold on. Let's talk about it for a second, because Zion is really making moves that a guard can make, that most guards in the league aren't really making like that on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is Zion is making way better moves as a guard that I've seen in college, especially for his size and his, like, just how he is and how he's built. He's making moves better than like a guy like Jeff Teague with the rock in his hand. He feel comfortable with the rock in it. And I feel like, if anything, Duke should just let him do his thing more. But yeah, overall, that's how I feel about the Zion thing. I don't know how good he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be top 10 in the league one day. Probably could be easily, but I don't know how the league going to shape up or nothing like that. But I really do feel like Zion is going to be a very, 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 very good player. And if you a very, 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 very good player, regardless, you number one, regardless. Like, that's just going to be how it is. But everyone's been talking about the injury, and everyone's been debating whether Zion Williamson should play or not. Stop trying to control what the kid do in his life. The kid can do whatever the hell he want. If Zion want to chill out and take Duke money, take Duke 100K and sit out for a year, he can do that. If Zion wants to, at this point, go back out there and play because he loves basketball, he can do that too. Stop trying to dictate what the kid got to do. The kid is a phenom, and I know everyone's so concerned about his career ending so early, and it ends so early in a sense that, damn, he can't even get his first contract in the league. He couldn't even get a chance to make millions, and he was so good. I get where all that comes from. I get where all that, like, get how y'all feeling, but it's his life. He gets to dictate whatever he does with his life going forward. You don't dictate that from your couch. You don't dictate that from what you're saying on ESPN. You can't dictate what the kid gonna do no matter what gonna happen. So if the kid wants to sit out, he can sit out, rest up, be like, all right, I'm done. I'm preparing for the league. But if you want to hoop with his guys still, and he feel like he got a goal to accomplish and a goal to achieve, let my boy hoop in the league. Let my boy hoop in college still. Like, it's really not that serious, because chances are he's more than likely not going to get a freak injury. It's way too many list of injuries that could possibly happen to him. And it's a minuscule amount of freak injuries that could just happen. And yes, it can happen at any moment. And he's an athlete and he does athletic shit. So he's more prone to those freak of nature injuries. But let my guy if you want to hoop, he want to hoop. And he shouldn't get shunned for wanting to play basketball. That's just really how I feel. Moving on though, this is the last topic of the day probably. I just wanted to talk about how I think all right, let's see. So everyone's gassing up Ja Morant, right? You know, everybody ESPN at this point, mock drafts probably even have him number one. They have him at 1A, 1B with Zion. Probably number two. more number 2, but I've seen number 1 in certain like articles in certain people's mock drafts. Yeah, so John Morant, this guy is gassed up on ESPN. He got all the nice ass highlights. He got the nice ass dunks. He's got game time shots. But again, I feel like this is what to the highlight realm of basketball stands don't really get how basketball work like. First off, I think John Morant's gonna be a good point guard in the league. John Morant is going to forever be a starting caliber point guard, no matter how he develops his game, no matter how that goes. So I'm not even trying to slander Ja on any level, and he could even be a multiple-time All-Star. That's not the issue I got with how I feel like the best point guard in the league, I mean, in the draft class, is being talked about. I just really think that people need to pay attention more to what Darius Garland was doing in the little bit amount of time he was playing college basketball before he got injured and before he can't play no more for the rest of the season. He was making moves, and he had a 30-point game pretty easy. That 30-point game looked easy as hell for my boy Garland. Garland looked like the game was easy against USC too when he was hooping against Kevin Porter and here's the thing. All right, so point guards. Right now it's kind of taking a shift. Point guards don't really gotta do nothing to initiate, nothing no more. That can score, that can do all that, whatever. You don't need the prototypical. Hey, let me initiate something from you off the top of the key. Obviously, elite point guards do whatever they want to do, regardless. They're elite point guards, but it's a typical point guard position, right? You can still score as a typical point guard. Here's the thing where I feel like Garland has job beat, and where Garland's skills mesh more towards what the Rebel basketball is going into today. One, Garland's bag is deeper than Ja's. I don't know if people really know this, but I don't think Ja really shooting like that. One of the biggest skills in the league is shooting. You see how guys like Russell Westbrook still get ridiculed. Guys like John Wall still get ridiculed. Shooting is a pivotal skill to have, because if you can shoot the basketball, chances are you can create for yourself as well. Ja Morant is... How much is Ja Morant weigh? I'm about to look it up right now. Hold on. Don't blame me. None of this. Morant is 175 pounds and 6'3". So it's going to get a little harder for him to create in the perimeter. Teams going to pressure up on him a lot, and teams going to make him feel him. This is where the drive comes in. He's really good at attacking the basket. But this is where my problem is. Garland can shoot. So size and no size, you is going to be a shooter, and you're going to be somebody that can create off a pull-up, because I know you can handle the rock. You have the sense of point guard feel. And I just feel like, well, if you can go perimeter and then bring everything to you and go inside as a little guard, or not, I don't want to say little because they're 6'3". They're normal point guard size, right? But I'm talking about in the realm of like literally everybody else in the court. So of like the 2 people that are 6'3" on the court, you got another 8 that are 6'6" and up, right? And that's how basketball is. That's how the NBA is. They're at least 6'5" and over. So nothing Ja's gonna get inside is easy. So I feel like with the size, it's gonna be a little bit harder to adjust. But that's not my only thing. My thing is I need somebody that can create in the perimeter and then do anything inside. I don't want it to be something where you kind of off this day and you can't really shoot for me. And then so now here we are stuck with the point guard that can't shoot, and he already really doesn't really have either off-ball value unless he cuts to the rim and does the Dwayne Wade, let me boom over everybody and watch out, get out my way kind of cuts, which he was really good at in his career. It's kind of hard to have off-ball value, and I don't want the ball in your hands all the time because other people are going to need the rock. You feel me? So if you put him in Phoenix, right? It's Ja Morant, Booker, Josh Jackson, Oubre, or whatever, Bridges, Oubre, whatever wing they want to play in the 8. The problem with a Ja Booker backcourt is that Ja needs the rock to create anything and everything he does special. But sometimes my boy Booker gonna need that rock to be swung to him. So it's like, well, okay, when my boy Book getting in his bag, what can he offer me? It doesn't matter that Book's I'm a better in the pick and roll, and I'm better at facilitating than Book. It's just like, what can I offer for Book? What can we feed off the same energy together? It's gonna be a little bit harder in that sense. You feel me? But I feel like with Garland could shoot the shit out the rock. So if Book can make that one pass to Garland gonna shoot that hoe, and that's gonna bring efficient basketball because, all right, we got two deadly scorers out there. They got crazy wings, and now all of a sudden they have an inside pick. Now that changes everything. And I just feel like Garland could fit in the realm of more of what today's league is because they can interchange like that. So look at how John Wall and Bradley Beal look like, and then look how Damon and CJ look like. They're both pretty much in the same realm. And I think Ja and Garland are pretty much in the same realm too, as in terms of point guards in the draft go. I think that's 1 and 2, easily, simple. But when you take into account that the Wall and Beal backcourt is collapsing, and it's because there's something that doesn't mesh well between the two that has brought it up to this point. And then when you have and you compare it to Dame and CJ, they're tight and their game meshes well with each other because they bring each other off ball value because they both can shoot the ball. And I just feel like in any predicament that you put Garland in, if at all else, he could shoot the basketball and he can create off the dribble and get you some easy, good-looking shots. Where Ja stands out, he is a crazy good passer. He's pretty much mastered the opposite corner pass similar to Luka, which is crazy to do when you're young, but a lot of these young dudes can really make those passes now. So they can make those skip passes easy, one hand, two hand. They can make the bounce pass, give it to their bigs. They might get a little bit too reckless. I feel like Ja can get a little bit reckless sometimes. But overall, he still do some things that's pretty good in that realm of basketball. And he's really good at finishing around the rim. Now, I don't know how that really going to be with NBA contact and nothing like that. I don't know how it's going to look like. But he's been really good in college at attacking the basket. So I feel like in that respect, that's where you have to look at the two, because neither one of them are going to be good defenders in the league. If they're lucky, they'll be average if they have a good team around them, but they're probably in the below average to – we probably can't really play you for that long tier of defense. But yeah, that's why I feel like Garland will strive more, and I feel like a lot of people should just pay attention to Darius Garland more overall when they look into how the NBA draft's going to go. And overall, I feel like the draft isn't as bad as people make it out to be, but that's just me. Anyways, this was a podcast brought to you by The Bucket Getter. Hey! And I'm signing off for now, y'all. It's been real. I kept it 30 minutes. That was about good. But yeah. More podcasts are gonna come out soon like this. Hopefully every Monday, and I hope to make it Wednesday, but I probably won't do it next Wednesday. But this Wednesday, I mean. But hopefully every Monday, Wednesday, new podcast, just talking about hoops, to see what's going on. I'll have guests on here every now and then. If anyone want to talk hoops with me, you can always talk hoops with me. You can catch you on Twitter. Biso knows or Biso Maroke. I don't care. Biso knows is just me talking. And then Biso Maroke is where I really do my basketball stuff, and I'm going to build that page into a more professional basketball profile. But you can check me out there. Talk to me about hoops. Any questions y'all got for me, y'all can do that for me as well. It's been your boy though, and I'll out for y'all. Peace.